Hello, welcome to my first video. I am creating this video, well, I know it looks like to show off all my cards, in a way, yes. But really, as you can see, I keep buying decks because I love the art. I also feel that they are saying something. I just haven't figured out how to read them as I should. So, this video is the start of my personal 31 days of tarot that I'm going to be doing, and I'm starting out with what it appears online. I've seen that to show the decks that they had gotten the previous year. I'm going to show you everything that I've got. Woohoo! Regardless of when I've gotten it. And I realized that it said, at first I thought it was only for January, and then I realized 31 days of tarot doesn't mean January. It's assumed, but it could be any 31 days at all in any year. So I'm making this mine. My 31 days of tarot will be about learning the tarot. So let's get into my decks, and we'll go from there. Oh, my plan is to teach myself is for each card, I'm going to probably have at least 6 to however many of the same card from different decks, just to see the different imageries and compare the different, because sometimes their descriptions are slightly different, to bring it all together and help me, well, internalize it and be able to read them better, not just make up stories. So without further ado, where shall I start? Well, let's start with Madame Clara. Just got this. This is it's on Etsy. It was a Kickstarter. On Etsy, I believe it's called the Motel Gift Shop. Just great name. Madame Clara sees all and asks the cards. It's the imagery is Victorian. Well, I just love how they've interpreted to a Victorian age type mentality, and that's why I bought the cards. I'm looking forward to having them on the desk because there's a lot of different details in that. Oh, and it comes with the bag too. It's actually a great deal. Etsy. Okay, what else? Oh, let's get these out of the way. I'm not a fan of the Raider White deck imagery. I know that's the go-to. Everybody talks about it. It just doesn't do anything for me. I don't like it. I got these when I first was trying to learn it because it has the definitions right there on the bottom and the top. But it didn't help me, and I think it's because I really just don't interact well with the cards. So those guys probably won't show up unless I want to add them for a reason. These guys I got because they're holographic. Yes, I'm trying to take them out of the box because I'll probably, again, not put them out on the floor. But see, ooh, shiny. So those are holographic. Got them for curiosity, not really for use. Now everything else here, because I want to play, touch, use. The Gendron Tarot by Melanie Gendron. Got this back in the 90s because it was the first deck that I saw that used a female image in what was traditionally considered a masculine card. And I've always had a problem with tarot for that very reason, because I believe their ideas, everybody has masculine and feminine, and instead we kind of draw things on genitalia lines instead of actually what it is and their forces. Oh, also it was the first deck that had that I came across that had prince and princess instead of page, knight, king, queen, meaning the female only had one, if they're lucky, one female court card, and if they were a little bit better, they were considered part of the child or the page, but even that was usually a masculine. So this is the first deck that and again, like the imagery a lot. Some of her cards I could just stare at. But it was the first of the kind for me to come across. I haven't actually worked with it that much because I didn't want to get it messed up while I didn't know what I was doing. But I'm looking forward to one day getting it like a nice wooden box like over here, but instead of just the tuck box. But I'm looking forward to seeing what these cards tell me. Okay, now we've got a bunch of new ones. This Might Hurt Tarot by Isabella Rotman. IsabellaRotman.com. I believe this is a wonderful deck. The book's in black and white, but the cards are really nice. The box is wonderful. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm doing it. Oh, I got the gold foil. I like the imagery and the fact that it makes me think more contemporary and still the overarching ideas. So This Might Hurt Tarot deck by Isabella Rotman. We have the Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn. Again, I've seen other people use it. I purchased it. I haven't used it much, but I love the imagery. I'm finding that Los Cabero tends to be a distributor that I really like what they do. Another one that I'm loving and still haven't played with enough is the Chris Ann, the Light Seers Tarot. Really looking forward to putting these and helping to understand. Let's get these little decks. Okay, got this because I saw people use mini decks, but if you're going to have a mini deck, it's got to be gnomes, right? Because gnomes are tiny. This is by Los Cabero. Once I got it, I liked it even more because it's in multiple languages. It's in German, it's in Italian, it's in English, and I think that's something with Los Cabero. They actually try to be more cross-cultural, and which makes their imagery even more interesting. And it's tiny. Playing cards. I'll bring these up now. I've seen people do tarot with playing cards, not with the major arcana, but basically playing cards are the same as the minor arcana. So I'm going to use my Shakespearean deck, and each of the cards, I didn't realize it, all the cards have a quote on them, and I'm really curious to find out if the quote goes along with what the rest of the cards say, if the person who was making these actually understood the tarot, it was happenstance. I don't know. Looking forward to finding out. What to go next? Let's do this one. This one I got quite a while ago. It is the Russian, oh, maybe I should have done it this way. I'll do it this way. It's the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg, and it was commissioned. It was illustrated by Yuri Shakov, but it was commissioned by the state of Russia. It's pretty much follows the Rider-Waite type imagery, except different. I don't know how to explain it. To me, it just looks Russian and opulent, and you think Russian Empire, everything about it. Also, some cards I use not like metallic Sharpie pens, but there's pens you can get. They're actually metallic. They actually lay down metal. So on the cards that I don't like the edges, I'll gild them myself, as you will. So this one I gilded gold. You can't tell as much, but you can see how it wasn't quite even. It goes over, and I know some people might not like that. I love that in that it makes the deck more me. I've owned this. It's my deck. It looks something handed down, personable, handmade, not mass-produced, which I think a tarot deck should be. Let's see. The Universal Celtic Tarot. Also, I believe this is, Los Cabero. Again, love the imagery. I like Celtic things. I like Celtic things so much I try to not always get them because I don't want to always just have the same thing. But love the imagery. This is my newest deck. Haven't just received it. It's the Slow Tarot. Got it because of the artwork is phenomenal. The different parts of the deck are different colors. You You can kind of see it there. You can really see it on the side of the deck, so I may just do like a black or something just so I don't necessarily want to see the colors from the very edge. But that's my cat. He wants to join in. But we'll just leave it at the Fool. Just this artwork. And the imageries. Actually, myself with the Empress, the look on her face is more like what I feel an Empress should be, and not just always just happy to be fecund all the time. Looking forward to using this deck. Looking forward to learning finally tarot. Okay, that's a Slow Tarot by Lacey Bryant. The Naked Heart Tarot by Jillian C. Wilde, which I believe was also a Kickstarter. Got this off Amazon, but it was more unicorns, maybe it's the unicorns. I don't know what it is. It could be the tiger. The images used tickle my funny bone. It's really, just love the imagery. Again, didn't I say? No, you didn't hear me say it. Or did I already? I wasn't going to do this. It also comes with a paper grid that I haven't had a chance to really investigate, which I like, with some suggestions for some crystal work. But I just love the look, the feel, the cards. Let's go to what's it? Kiro Marchetti, Legacy of the Divine Tarot. This one's through Llewellyn. Love his artwork. I will keep saying this. If you can, this is not too bad. If you can, get his decks when he first comes out with them from his site. The cardstock is just much better than the later mass-produced versions. Like this one's Llewellyn. Again, love the imagery. And then this one here is also by Kiro Marchetti, the Gilded Tarot, released by US Game Systems. And I think earlier I was looking through this before I started, and I wasn't trying to, I was just doing this, and I almost actually creased the card. It is so, I mean, it's got a lamination on it. Love the card, but I feel like it'd be so easy to just bend that into, without trying, just one bad shuffle, and you'd have a messed up card. But that's the Gilded Tarot by Kiro Marchetti. Well, looks like while we're doing Kiro Marchetti, we'll do this one. This is a mini deck that they were offering with a little cloth and a bag to come with it. But here, just the mini deck. I mean, just tell, look at the sides. That's a black card stock, but it's black all the way through. There's no white pale on the side. And it's tiny, but I just love his artwork. And maybe because it's not just because it's tiny. I feel I can do this and it's not going to bend over my thumbnail. So, and for those of you playing, you can count how many times I say so. Trying to speak without repeating the same words is hard work. Hard. Okay, so. Let's do this one, The Good Tarot, by Colette Barnreed. I will put underneath this video a list of all the tarot decks, and if there are links that I know where you can get them, I will put them there. So The Good Tarot, part of the reason I got this was because of the back. I love this idea that it looks like the cover of an old book. I like the artwork. It's a little too faded for my taste, but oh well. So I did go in, I am thinking about, see, I don't like that white sides. It's a nice thick stock though. So I'm thinking of coloring copper, I think. But Good Tarot, oh, I got that because I liked the way it looked. The idea behind the good tarot was to mitigate the so-called negative cards. But, you know, life is not like that. You can't edit out things you don't like. You need to get through them, you need to know about them, you need to learn from them. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with a good tarot, but I like the imagery. Again, looking forward to seeing how it looks, how it works out. Here's a few decks that I've got, but I don't know when I'll actually use them. Dreams of Gaia Tarot by Raven Felon. I'm really looking forward to using this, but having read the book and gone through the book, I didn't read it page for page, and looked at the cards, it is different than a regular tarot, and I want to work with it, but I want to get a better handle on tarot. For her deck, the court cards, she has, usually it's king, queen, knight, page, or prince, princess, or some variation of those. She has two actual court cards. She has a king and a queen. There's 4 court cards. There's a king and a queen. There's the chancellor or counselor to the royal couple, and then there's a card that she calls the spirit of the suit. And they're all 4 of them are the court cards, but instead of being a prince, princess, or a page, knight, or even a prince, knight, however they do it, she just went with king and queen. That's the only court. You have the advisor to the ruling couple, and then you have the spirit of what that particular deck, which is awesome. But I don't know if it might confuse me in learning the regular. So this is one that I want to get to at a later date when I understand this more. Here's another one. The Chakra Wisdom Tarot by Tori Hartman. Looking forward to this, but her setup again is a little bit different since hers is based on chakra rather than just the suits. I do love the cards. I love the back. I love the side. But like instead of, it goes like the kings, because purple's all a certain thing. So she's got everything that's of the purple chakra all together. So that may be the first one of the not quite regular tarot I venture into. But in the first round of training, that's what I do. First round of training, use the tarot, and then do another one comparing tarot to these ones that are slightly different. Here's another one that I may or may not include in the regular one, which is the Akashic Tarot, but it's got a less number of cards, and it is slightly different, but again, it's got this old deck look. The pictures are beautiful. I put some gold stuff on the side. Made a total mess of it. Totally. Yeah, I get flippant, sorry. But I love this idea of this being a connection to the Akashic Records. It is a tarot deck, but not quite like a regular tarot deck. So it's going to be over here for later. Here's another one that's going to be for later simply because I like it. It is a regular tarot deck, and yet it's not. It's called In Between. And the idea is, it's Los Cabero again, is the decks are showing the point in between the cards. So this is the point between the Fool and the Magician. So the Fool is actually, if you remember, he's usually falling off the cliff or starting the journey. But here it's like, oh, wait a minute, he didn't fall, he flew. He's coming into his powers and he's becoming the Magician. And this one now is between the Magician and the High Priestess, the point between the High Priestess and the Empress. So I love the idea. I can't wait to use it. But because it requires a little more understanding of the tarot to get the in-between part, it's going over here to the later. Oh, I want to bring this one here. Here's another Celtic tarot I got because I love all things Celtic. Well, not all things, but it's by Llewellyn. I'll probably use it because I do like the imagery. It's got this beautiful color book. I mean, this thing is heavy. It's a fantastic book. Unfortunately, I wish they put the money into the deck. The book is heavier than the deck. The deck has got those cards like I was talking about that feel like they're about to just break apart. I do love the images, but the card, I feel like I'm going to break them. I'm not a gentle person. I'll break things. I don't want to break them. So this one just really kind of, when I took the book out, I was like, oh wow, this is really nice. This book is so heavy. You pick up the box is so nice. The book is so heavy, and I really wish they put the money into the cards and not the box in the book. You know, I mean, quite seriously, once you figure out the cards, you don't refer to the book that often. So that just may be something that stays up on my shelf. Oh, there's something on here. Here's another one I can't wait to play with, the Vice Versa Tarot. Again, Los Cabero by Linnea Weatherstone. And this, the idea is the fact that instead of reversed, you have the front side and the back side. Like so from the front, the Fool, you see the dawn or the sun coming up there, but from behind, the light's coming from behind and you see the dark sky. Same thing with the Magician. The Magician is facing the sun, facing the sunlight. There's a comet coming up behind him, but from behind, it's where it's a darker shadowed image. Very, very, well, beautiful. And it will be fun to use this when talking about reversals. So, what to do next? We're getting down to the last few. I'm sorry, I just moved everything. First video, sorry. This is my favorite deck. Let's do this one really quick. That's the first deck I really tried. It's the Ancestral Path Tarot by Julia Kucia Watts. Kucia Watts. I do apologize for butchering that name. And again, I liked it because of the images drawn and the fact her court cards are all a different culture. This is, and as in the book, that's one of my favorite cards of hers, the Judgment card, just the imagery. There's Egypt for staves, each culture for the suit is a culture after it has become interacted with Western Europe. This is Indian nations after colonization. We've got Egypt. I can't remember the time frame. That's a major arcana. This is Ireland and England, but using the Arthurian legend. And there's Indians, and Japan after they opened their doors to, I don't want to say invaders, but right now I can't think of the right word. But I loved the artwork, her paintings. I do believe that's a painting of her, the Fool. I just loved it. They felt good in my hands. Here's an example of a deck that I don't care that the sides are white because the border's white, so it just all works. I've used this one the most. I also should mention that it was probably 10-15 years the last time I tried to learn tarot, and then life got in the way. This one is the whole Nightscape Tarot by who's it by, Sid? Why don't you know? Oh, it's on the back. By Molly Greenlee. I like the simplicity and the images. Color just in places, mostly black and white, but the color used for emphasis. This was a Kickstarter. So this is a Kickstarter deck that I got recently. Started playing with it, but now that I've come up with my idea for the 31 Days of Tarot, this is the Urban Tarot. This is one I stumbled across, and if you are from New York and want to learn Tarot, I highly suggest you get this. The maker, Robin Scott. is from New York. The idea of even the cards, I believe that's based or supposed to base like the New York map with the different squares. I love the way the images have been created. Also in the book, when you read the book, all these are real people, and they are all mentioned as in which card and who's the model for that card. So the fact that these entire deck is based on real people, that fascinates me, especially when you think about what that particular card is supposed to mean. What, you don't believe me? Let's see. Find one that says here. So 10 of Cups, models. It actually gives the people's names, and it was when it was completed. So I like the fact that an old technology being revamped with current people, current names. Okay, my last two. Here is my Chiara Marchetti's Tarot of Dreams, purchased from Chiara Marchetti. It has a simple book, but the cards are just much thicker. Oh, is that my Sean Bean card? Every time I get this, I think of Sean Bean. I just like the cardstock much better, the way they feel. Maybe it's my imagination, but it seems that the ones that come directly from his site, and you can't get them all once he only has a limited number, and once he's sold it to a distributor, that's where you'll get them. And then the one that I've played with the most is the Barbara Moore Steampunk Tarot, which I have just loved the imagery. And this is one that I did copper on the side because steampunk. I just love the images, the colors. It fits who I am. I'm not a pastel person. Really can't stand pastels. This one will probably quite often be on the desk, on deck, as I teach myself tarot. So, in the past and other teachings when they do tarot, they always start with the major arcana. And though I'm not proficient with the major arcana, I do seem to understand it. And for me, quite often, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. I don't know what the issue is. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the minor arcana, because that's what always gives me the most trouble, which is also why I've got a deck of cards, since I'm starting with them minor, because it suits and it's ones and it's elements, and I'm going to start from there. I'm going to go through the numbers and the elements and then the cards and see how it combines the two, and then see how the imagery on different cards brings that up. And once I've done that, then I guess I'll try readings and major arcana. Who knows? I haven't planned all 31 days. I've got day 1 through day 5. Yes, 5. 5 figured out. So thank you for joining me, and I appreciate you watching this, if anybody is, and I will see you on day 2. Thank you.